Hello, hello, hello. Happy Friday, Bougie Squad. Thank you all so much for being with me on tonight. I am super duper excited for you all to be with me on a special episode of Bougie Girl Cyber Hour, Cyber Happy Hour. I know normally for her story we come on at 7:30, but tonight we're on at 9 p.m. and I hope you all can join us. Tag your friends, share this out, and let everybody know where you're logging in from. Say hello to me tonight. I have a special, amazing guest with me on tonight. It is my beloved, amazing daughter, my only daughter, Cortnee Chenault. She is a Gen Z and she is my guest on her story. And we're going to have a conversation. We're going to have a live and in color conversation. We're going to talk about daddy issues and dating. We're going to just get into it. We're going to get live and about it. She's going to be transparent and come from her heart. So I will bring her up so she can introduce herself and you guys can say hello to her. Be nice, y'all, okay? Hey, Courtney.
Hello.
How are you doing tonight?
I am good. I'm super, super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to share this platform with you because I know you're familiar with with social media and stuff like that. So I really wanted to make sure that I shared my platform with you because you kind of inspired me to do this. And so I am just super excited to have you on tonight. Hello, everybody. Thank you all so much. Everybody is saying hello, Savannah. Hey, Vivi. Thank you so much. Out, you guys tag your friends, share this out. Thank you all, Kimberly. Thank you, Queen. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Dr. Pat. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mama B. I see you. Thank you all so much for being on with us tonight. So we're going to have a transparent conversation on tonight. But before we get started, Courtney, how have you been? How's your day? We live in two different states, you guys. I live in Texas. She lives in Nevada. So Courtney, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. I'm always a working woman, so I just continue to work every single day, but I'm great. I'm living life and I'm happy.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you because I always ask the guests that come on. Hey, Shetta, thank you so much for joining. What did you learn from 2020? With the pandemic and everything shutting down, social distancing, did you learn anything new about yourself, or what did you learn in 2020?
2020 was really rough, and I'm sure many people can account for that, but 2020 I learned a lot of things, especially about friendships, especially about my career and like how much I needed to invest into that. But I think the biggest thing that I learned in 2020, just to let your past stay your past, and inside of my career to always put my best foot forward, because my career is a top priority for me. So I always want to make sure that I put my best foot forward into anything that I get into.
Well, that's good. So just what did you learn about friendships? I know you mentioned something about friendships. What did you learn about friendships in 2020?
I learned to never ignore the signs of a friendship or whatever you get into a relationship or a friendship. You never want to ignore the signs, because I'm always just kind of, I guess, in other words, naive when people show, these red flags, because I know that not everybody is going to be perfect. I'm not even perfect. So whenever somebody makes a mistake, I think you should always hold on, like not hold a grudge, but understand that that happened and just progress in the correct manner, not just being naive about a situation. And I just learned to just not ignore everything that comes my way.
That's awesome. And I'm so glad because, you and I have conversations on the phone and we talk about friendships and different things like that. And so, it's so important. And I always try to remind you that, when you have that beef between a friend, sometimes that's going to be patterns that happen throughout life when you meet somebody new, so it's never going to really go away totally, but you just learn how to handle it better. So I'm so glad that you're learning those things. Hi, Shay. Thank you so much for joining us. Amanda said hello. Hi, you guys. Thank you so much. And then Kimberly was saying, never ignore the signs. Exactly. Never ignore the signs or the red flags, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
So
And then
what are you?
growing up, like I'm 21, I'm growing up and I make a lot of mistakes. I think you need to make mistakes in order to grow. But never ignore the signs. I think that's a big point, to never ignore signs. Whenever somebody gives you like, hey, that this is who I am, take that into account.
Right, like Maya Angelou said, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. You
Yeah.
know, if they show you who they really are, if they show you that they're not compassionate, they're not kind, they're not caring, we have to actually take them for their word, right? Because they're telling us the truth about who they are. So, what are you looking forward to in 2021?
I'm looking forward to many things. So I am a sports recruiter in my job, and I'm so happy because I just leveled up. In other words, I got a promotion, so I'm happy, and I'm ready to keep progressing in my career. I'm looking forward to my new place. I'm fortunate and blessed enough to be able to move out of, my current place. So I'm very excited to get to move next week. So that's what I'm looking to so far. And the summer is gonna be great.
I'm excited for you to be moving out of that situation and being able to go and be in a healthy environment. So let's get started with some of the questions that some of the topics that we're going to discuss tonight. So again, the topic is daddy issues and dating. So I want to kind of let the audience get to know you a little bit, and I'm just going to ask a few questions or bring up a few things. What do you miss most about being young, like being like 11, 12 years old? What do you miss most about that?
I miss, and this is probably the best childhood memory that I have, and Savannah, you can account for this too. Just going to Knott's Berry Farm, going to Six Flags, and just being worry free, not having really like bills to pay. Of course, you're a kid, you don't have bills. Um, just being able to eat carefree and just like live life like no other. So I think just going to the amusement parks was the best memory I have.
I mean, those were some good times. Aunt Nikki said hello. Hi, Nikki. Thank you for joining us. Those were some good times going to Knott's Berry Farm, the funnel cakes, just going on the rides with you guys. I remember you and I and Savannah, or I think it was another one of your friends, went to Knott's Berry Farm for your 11th or 12th birthday. Just going with the family and just having a really good time. Savannah remembers that. So just really enjoying life and just being, like you said, being carefree. Those are some really good memories. What do you love most about being older? You said you're 21 years old. What do
Mhm.
you enjoy most about being 21?
I love that I'm independent. I love the fact that I get to kind of learn life on my own. I feel like, you can take a lot of advice that you want, but ultimately you have to learn a lot of things on your own and able to grow.
Mhm.
So I think just being independent and learning who I am as an adult has been the most fulfilling thing so far.
All right, that's awesome. Just being independent, not being under mommy and daddy's roof anymore, not having to follow our rules, not having to follow the rules because we have some rules, even though y'all broke some of the rules as well. But just being able to do your
Teenage
own thing.
teenage
Right. So, what is some of the best advice you've been given, throughout your life? You're 21 now, so to this point, what's some of the best advice that you've received?
The best advice that I have been given was just learn myself. I tend to be very selfless. I notice that trait about myself that I will put people before myself, not even like really considering, you know, where I am in life or like considering like anything. I put other people first. And now that I'm having time to kind of like focus on myself and I understood like how that wasn't helping me as an individual or as a growing young woman, finally being able to learn myself and not really investing my time too much and like into my friends or like into stuff that wasn't really benefiting me. I think that was the best advice. And it just sounds like a no-brainer, like, yeah, like learn yourself. But once like people do have like selfless characteristics, and I think that that was a really big part of me that I think I just need to kind of dwindle down a little bit.
Okay. So, what are some of the worst advice you've been given?
The worst advice that I've been given, which is kind of funny, because my current situation is just to move in with people that I'm not too sure about. Just growing up, of course, you want to save money. Who doesn't like to save money? So I just took it as an opportunity, like, hey, yeah, I haven't known you guys for that long, but you guys seem cool, whatever. I'm gonna just put me in a really bad place from where
Mhm.
I'm just headed into my life. It kind of just put a pause onto where I'm trying to get to in life. So I think that was just the worst advice, and not going with my intellect and understanding that probably this wouldn't be the best. Probably I should get to know those people a little bit more. Then I kind of ignored that. I ignored the red flags, those signs.
Right. The signs,
So
right.
I'm just learning from it. So I'm just glad that I'm learning while I'm young, so that as I become older, it won't just come as a surprise to me.
Right. So just the advice that you were saying, the bad advice you were saying, just uh, saying, let's move in together and not really paying attention to the people you're moving in with. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
not understanding like their characteristics, because when you move in with somebody, you kind of really understand who that person is. You start to butt heads, or just, you don't live the same if you don't really know them. If they're not like, oh, your best friend or like your family, you're not really knowing exactly who you're moving in with until you
right,
actually live with them.
right,
So I never thought it was a big deal. Like everybody said, well, moving in with somebody is a huge deal. I was like, okay, well, I'll figure it out for myself. I'll see how it is for myself first, and I would just go
right,
from there. And I just think I like to, learn the hard way sometimes, just to see for myself. And I did. So I think it just put me in a better position to kind of grow from it,
right.
hopefully. So,
And I think a lot of times, with young people, to sometimes I believe that's good to learn the hard way, sometimes not to your detriment, but to learn, because if as parents we try to shield you from everything, then how are you going to learn some of the lessons that needs to be learned? Yes, we're going to shield you to a point, but it's
yeah,
like, you know what, if you're insistent on doing this,
yeah.
maybe you need to just kind of learn this lesson.
Yeah,
So
and usually when I have like a goal in mind, I don't like it doesn't it's tunnel vision for me. Like if I have a goal, okay, I'm moving to my place, or I'm gonna get a car, or I need my hair done, like I'm gonna get it done. Like what kind of sounds kind of vain, but whatever I want, I'm going
yeah,
to get because I pursue it.
right.
So I think sometimes you can pursue the wrong things. Um, and yeah, it was a tough lesson, but at least I did learn from that, and decide to get out of that.
Right. And I know Kelsey was saying even moving in with a best friend is different when you actually live together.
Yeah.
And that is so true, because I moved in with a friend before, and oh my goodness, was like, and we ended up not being friends anymore after that. And we had been knowing each other for 20 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and it was heartbreaking, because you don't realize when you move in with that person, their quirks and stuff like that, and what gets on their nerves or what gets on your nerves. And it's like, ugh,
Sometimes you don't even think like you're doing anything wrong. Like, you
right,
know, it's there might be just annoyed as I am with them. So you just really don't know. And it just sometimes you just gotta be friends from afar. You don't need to live together.
right. That is so true. You don't have to live together. We ain't got to live together, be friends.
Let me
So,
live by myself and we could be friends on Friday, okay?
right. Exactly. Can you recall a favorite year of your life? Did you have a favorite year, and why was that year a favorite for you?
I think
Every
2020 was probably my favorite year, just because a lot was going on. I turned 21 in 2020, so I had a great year. Um, as far as just learning everything in the meantime, I think that that was really beneficial. Why I see that as like probably one of my favorite years, and just like adulting. Adulting's not fun, but it teaches you responsibility and independence, and it's really up to you if you want to be a grown person and independent. A lot of people don't have that hustle or that drive or that devotion to just be,
right.
for goals. Some people don't really have goals, so I'm very happy that I know like exactly what I want in life, just so that I can work every day to get there.
So what motivates you? Because I know you said you have that hustle, you have that drive. What motivates you to be that type of person?
Money. I am a money person. I grew up around money, so I just never seen myself as lesser than, or to have like, really nothing. Like it's up to me if I want what I need at the end of the day. I feel like I need what I was surrounded with when I was younger. So I
Right.
think as I grow up, I need to provide that for myself as well. I don't want anybody to, or I don't want to feel obligated to for anybody to provide that to me. I'm just really independent in that aspect, and I want to have my own money. So money is a big motivation for me. And just like my dream houses, and just like looking at homes and just places that I want to travel to, and just like growing up and just being a really, you know, great woman at the end of the day.
Right. And Kelsey said, yes, money, money, money. So yes, motivated by the coins, motivated to get that dream house, to live debt free, to have everything that you need and not have to worry about somebody else. I know you were saying not worried about somebody else. Um do you feel like you have to be dependent on a man for money, or do you feel like, you're going to get this on your own, or how do you feel about that?
I feel like growing up, just, I'm not going to say anything specific, but just like growing up, I've noticed a lot of people in my life who has been like dependent on somebody to be, successful or to just be good. And just like, even I have some friends who are out there and just like depend on others to be happy. And I just look at them like, I don't want that for myself. I don't want to depend on somebody, because by the end of the day, characteristics could change. Somebody's personality can completely change. And they're like, okay, this is not what I want. I'm gonna go live my life, you go live yours, and you're just stuck. I never want to put myself or set myself up in a position to where I can't ever take care of myself. I'm always going to be good. So I think like just having that mentality just helps me to strive forward. So um, I think that really benefited my mindset.
Okay, that's awesome. So, you guys, if you're just now joining us, we're having a mother-daughter chat. This is my daughter, my only daughter, Cortnee Camille Chenault, the middle child. So we're having a transparent conversation. So if you have not shared this out and invited your friends and your family, invite them now. So we're getting ready to get into it. We're going to talk about the daddy things so how is your relationship? Let's talk about your relationship with your dad. How is that relationship, or how has that relationship impacted your life?
My relationship with my dad hasn't always been the best, but ultimately, like, I love my dad. I love both of my parents, of course, but I just feel like growing up with my dad has always been kind of rocky. And we definitely have a lot of great times amongst all the drama and all the mess. But I think that affected me just like how I date. I'm a person, like, I'm a lover and I love to like love others. So I think like, just having like not understanding like a stable relationship like with my dad has affected me like in my relationships, because even like with my relationships they haven't been as stable, or like I noticed some characteristics that I've noticed in the past while I was younger. I'm like, okay, well, this is normal, like, it shouldn't bother me or anything. And I developed to try to normalize that, the things that are wrong with that. So I think that that's kind of affected me. But as far as, the positive things, my dad has always taught me that I need to be treated like a queen or a princess, as I am. So I just feel like, I should always be treated with the utmost respect. Um,
Sure.
to kind of put that into definition, I feel like I should always be treated with respect. Everybody should be treated with respect at the end of the day. So um, I think that kind of relates for me.
So when you dated young men, did you feel like you were looking for someone that looked like or that was like your dad, or have similar characteristics to your dad, or you think you were just drawn to that automatically?
I think it was automatic. I wasn't looking for anything particular except for like a guy who was like going to treat me right.
Sure.
And it was just like a roller coaster. Like one minute or like one day you would, treat me completely great. The next day, you're having a mood swing. I don't know what it is, but things
Mhm.
would change. And I just noticed like it would kind of be the same thing, but I don't look for anything specific. I just look for a good heart and a good person. And I know my father has a really great heart. Sometimes, it's tough to show it for men um, that I've came across with dating. Um, but I don't look for anything really specific. It just kind of comes naturally. But I feel like since those things that I am attracted to, I think I needed to kind of, fix a few things that I am kind of attracted to, just
Like,
so that I can just, I don't know. I think just when somebody shows you like, hey, they're completely devoted at first, and then when you see like red flags of like somebody just, acting weird and it really like touches you, I think that's something that you should focus on. Like I was saying in the beginning of the conversation, I don't take
yeah.
those red flags. and I don't really like, I ignore those signs because I'm like, okay, well, not everybody's going to be like perfect, you
Mhm.
know, but there's certain things that you need to pay attention to in order to either grow with that person or grow from that person. Um, so that's the type of things that I'm gonna look for from now on.
So do you feel like as far as like, because you know your dad and I, when we got married, we were kind of young. So do you feel like you're ready to be married, or you, if the right man comes along, do you feel like you want to settle down, or you want to live a little bit more of your life?
I think it's such a fairy tale for me to be married. And I think it's a fairy tale for a lot of women to be married, to live this happy life and big home with kids or whatever. But I had to realize that I'm young and I'll only be young once. So I'm going to have fun. And I'm not looking for anything serious anytime soon.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Enjoy your youth, enjoy your life, enjoy your freedom, and be able to
Yeah.
do the things that you want to do for yourself. So please do
Not,
that. Continue to do that.
yeah, not just it's just all comes around to like not being so serious so soon because we have all of our life to like, we have a stage of our life where we want to become super serious. And if you find that right person, yeah, you want to communicate to that person. But I just feel like, while I'm young, I'm not going to look for anything serious unless God presents that person to me um,
Right.
as a friend first, growing that healthy relationship. And then if I'm ready for that, then yeah, that's where the communication comes in. But as far as with me being a young person, I right now I'm not trying to look for anything serious. I'm trying to live my life.
Have you felt like in the past with some of your relationship you moved too fast?
Definite. I wear my heart on my sleeve. So I feel like I dive in really quick with like my emotions because I'm just a lover and I just love to love somebody. So if I feel like somebody's worth loving or like if somebody is deserving of love, I think everybody's deserving of love. But I feel like sometimes I gave my love to the wrong people. So when I did that, I kind of understood I did dive a little bit too quick. Um, but yeah, I definitely experienced diving in relationships a little bit too fast, but always take it slow. Be friends first. And if you have those feelings kind of early, I'm going to learn to kind of step away from that first, seeing if we can develop a friendship first, um,
Right.
getting into anything else. So,
Right. And I think that's wisdom right there as far as, learning from your past relationships, learning from past situations and being able to understand that now, like you mentioned several times, looking for acknowledging the red flags, right? Not just ignoring them, not just kind of pushing them to the side or brushing them under the rug, but saying, you know what, let me pay attention to that characteristic. Let me pay attention to that because this might be something that might be detrimental in the long run.
right. Yeah, you always want to pay attention to those small things. Um, and what I learned as a woman, you can't really make it if you're trying to learn somebody. If you notice something, you tell them that person, if you notice that, they're going to try to tweak what that is first, but you kind of need to see who they truly are first. I get like if you're in a long relationship, of course, nothing's going to be perfect, so you're going to need to tweak that. But
Right.
always understand who that person fully is 100% before you dive into anything. So
Right.
that's what I
That's
learned.
awesome. That's good. Take your time, take it slow, and make sure that you see what's going on before you decide to dive into it full force. So, do you feel validated with your relationship with your dad? Did you feel like he validated you or made you? I know you said you felt like a queen, but do you feel like he validated you, or did you look outside of your father, relationship for validation?
Validation, what aspect?
Like as far as who you are, like you're beautiful, you're worthy, you're worth waiting for, you deserve love, just being able to validate your existence as a young lady and just know who you are as a young lady. You deserve the best.
Right. Um, I think I did a few instances. Like for example, I would say like things like, well, do I look beautiful today? Or like, just try, even though I know like my self confidence is there, but sometimes, I
Mhm.
feel like I would look for that validation if somebody isn't, if the person I'm dating doesn't seem like to pay enough attention to me or whatever, if I don't get that attention in the past, and I would seek for that validation in that person,
Mhm.
which is definitely something that I've changed now. But in the past, I would definitely look for that validation and see, like, okay, then, I am worth, just being here with you, then I am worth, if, as long as you validate that, as long as you think that that's okay, then yeah, then I'm gonna be cool with that. But I don't look for validation anymore. I know what I'm worth.
Right. So let's talk about some heartbreak. When was your first heartbreak? Because as young girls, as teenagers, you all have your first boyfriends, and whether the parents like it or not, we try to steer you away from it, but it happens anyway. So tell us about your first boyfriend and your first heartbreak.
So my first boyfriend was in high school. My mom doesn't like him, but it's okay because I was like in this fantasy world. We were like cupcakey. It was so corny, but we were like not really in love, but we thought we were in love because we're low key kind of like obsessed with each other. Um, I don't think that I've ever gotten my heart broken. I just think that I've gotten my feelings hurt.
Mm,
It's not really because I don't think that I've truly been in love. I don't think I like because I know what love is now, just coming out of all the toxicity. But um, I've definitely gotten my feelings hurt to a point like where I had to learn myself and just like, okay, where did I mess up? Where did this person mess up? I didn't blame myself, but I
right,
understood that if my feelings are getting hurt, how can I correct that so it won't happen again? Um,
right.
so yeah.
So no heartbreak, just hurt feelings, just really hurt feelings. How
Yep.
did you bounce back? How do you bounce back from those hurt feelings when, those relationships dissolve? You've had some several relationships that dissolve.
Mhm.
How have you been able to bounce back to be able to get back to your normal like place of peace?
Yeah, like what I was mentioning earlier, I became like a selfless person where I would just mainly focus on a person at a point to where like I would forget myself, what
Mhm.
I would like to do, what, the things that, would make me happy. I would try to make that person happy 1,000%. Like my focus is on that person 1,000%. So you're gonna get all my time, you're whatever you need, I'm gonna give it to you because my devotion's 1,000%. I'm always 10 toes down, but I never really like understood like it's okay to, you know, be 10 toes down for yourself as well, if that makes sense. Like kind of understand
What does that mean? Because some
like
of us older people may not know what that means.
10 toes down is a form of loyalty, just like always just being loyal to not just others, but yourself. So I wasn't as loyal to myself as I should have been or gave myself as much, you know, attention. So I just, lost myself and not really like understood like, what are my hobbies? What makes me happy? So what kind of bounced me back, which is finding my hobbies again and just doing what I like to do. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but true fusion, it's beautiful. It's Pilates. I love to exercise. When I was in high school, I played tennis and volleyball, and I'm just like, I'm an active kid, so I just love to be active, and I haven't been active over the past year. Just from that, I've gained 30 pounds from that, and I'm at my heaviest. I don't look heavy, but I'm at my heaviest.
You look
Um,
amazing.
but I just never really focused like on those things that I liked, and just like that I found that again, and that spark within myself.
Mhm.
That made me bounce all the way back.
Well, I'm excited for you. I can't wait to come out there and do the True Fusion with you. It's going to be super fun.
It's
And
95 degrees in there, 100 degrees. You might pass out. So you need 2 buckets of water before you get in there.
so it's kind of like hot yoga, right?
So there's a few different ones. So I like to go to my Pilates about 3 times a week. I know it sounds kind of corny, but they're
You
usually
got to
like
body
90.
it up then. I mean, look.
Mhm. It's 95 degrees in there, and we just keep going. Like we're dripping with sweat, and of course, there's precautions because of COVID, but I have a blast every time I go. I try to go every other day, so it's
Well,
fun.
that's awesome. I'm excited for you. I can't wait to go with you. And Savannah saying you have to learn to love yourself and to learn and learn to love you first before you expect anyone to love you. And that is so true.
Yeah, and that's like I always known that like I loved myself, but I just knew I didn't love myself enough because I know I got lost in somebody else where I didn't focus on myself. So
Mhm.
I think that's a part of loving yourself first.
Right, that is so true. And then Simone was saying, I love this. You're raising a beautiful bougie queen up. Thank you, Simone. Appreciate you. This is little bougie right here, y'all. If y'all don't know, now you know. This is little bougie. This a little, she growing up to be a big bougie, but And Aunt Nikki said, "Wow, I'm just now learning to be loyal to self." Right, and a lot of times it takes us a little longer, to love ourselves, to understand, and to know our worth. You know, um,
And it's
Sometimes, but I'm super thankful that you are at this age at 21 because I'm trying to. For
it's
me, as your mother, I'm trying to kind of like help you to learn those things that I didn't know before you get to be my age, and you're still trying to figure it out. So it's so good to learn these lessons now.
and it's a tough lesson, like trust. It's a really tough lesson, especially like if you don't really know that coming into the world. Like when I graduated from high school, I went straight to college and I didn't really like know where to start with my road because I lived with my mom and so I was kind of like, I felt kind of stable underneath my mom because I didn't like I wasn't gonna mess up. She always kept me grounded. So then I kind of just like lost myself in the world a little bit, not, trying to explore different things in life. And it just, it just encouraged losing my own personality and who I was,
Right,
um, going through all these different phases and stuff. But yeah, it's a tough lesson, but just take that time to just be in solitude,
right.
isolate yourself for a little bit and see where it goes.
And I think a lot of times it's important for us to learn those lessons because I'm thankful that you were able to get away from home and kind of learn some of these lessons about, gaining some resilience, in order to kind of be able to learn now, and I was still in the state with you. So when you were going through some of those things, I was able to kind of still be there to help you along, but still you were able to be independent and do your own thing as well. So,
Yeah, you're able to ground me. But it got to a point to where, I had to learn by myself because a lot of things like
yeah.
there are, my own decisions and, my own course of life that I have to, come back from. It's either I go down the right or the wrong path. And,
Right.
you know,
So I want to go back to your relationship with your dad. So, what do you wish he would have said to you growing up, or said to you even now? What do you wish he would say to you? What he would have said to you?
I wish my dad would have been like seriously a lot more realistic about me growing up and being a woman and just like understanding that yes I'm gonna have a relationship, I'm a woman, um but I was raised to be a princess and I was very protected underneath that. So whenever he would hear boys he just like the typical old school dad, like, oh no, like no boys, like, you know, just ill, like that wasn't even a thing. I'm like, well, I love boys, like what? So I didn't really understand like how to just like dive into that aspect of my life, relationships. I never really learned to like what to expect from men or just like what to look out for. Still haven't yet, had a serious conversation about that because I think that that's a really uncomfortable topic, for a lot of dads, even. But um, I just wish it was a lot more realistic in that aspect so that I could learn, where to kind of learn things first. And sometimes you do have to learn things on your own. Not every woman has, that ability to learn from their dads or they don't have that opportunity. So in my case, I just didn't want to deal with all the little boy drama. So I was just like, okay, let me learn by myself. I'm ready to date. And
Right.
up learning a little bit more down the road. So
So, do you feel like him not telling you certain things, or kind of schooling you on certain things, or just having that realistic conversation with you, kind of cause you to have these toxic relationships, or tolerate some of the things that you've tolerated in relationships?
it made things a lot more difficult than it needed to be.
Mm,
Um, I'm not going to blame it 1,000% on him because I feel like I should choose wisely on who I talk to.
right.
Like it would have definitely been helped. And I would have probably been a few steps further in this process if I were to get the advice. But
Sure.
you know, not every dad's going to be as comfortable or has the best advice with that.
Right.
Um, so I think that it would have definitely put me in a better position with my dating life. But as far as what I have gotten, I've definitely had to learn on my own.
So as far as what can you tell another young girl that might be watching this, or a mother, or just anyone? Why do you think, as a young lady, a father-daughter relationship is so important?
It's important because that's what you grow up to know. That's the man in your life that's the first man that you love. You're going to see how they treat you. They're going to see, basically how they raise you and, what to expect from you, what not to expect. And you kind of take those characteristics into your adulthood. Then you try to find that in somebody else, like, okay, well, if my dad showed me this as a woman, then that should be acceptable. That's what I'm used to, right? So you think that that's okay, even though, like, even when you're younger, you know it wasn't okay, but that's what you're used to. You're probably not even realizing it until you take the time back to look in the mirror a little bit and understand, like, or reflect or to look, what happened in the relationship or who that person that you were dating was. Once you
Mhm.
figure out who that person was, that's how you know that that relates back, to some things that weren't probably the healthiest in your daddy daughter relationship. So you gotta
Right,
read those things and kind of reflect.
right. It's important. So I know you mentioned about how you really weren't shown in the home about relationships. So about that. So how did you feel like me as your mother? And like I said, we're having a real conversation. Do you feel like anything that I may have said or done, did that impact you in a negative way in relationships as well?
Um, I just feel like how things ended off, like in a relationship, because of course you and dad are divorced. Things how they kind of ended off and as abrupt as it did kind of like affect me to like learn how to end things, I guess. Um, but I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned though, just like from you and dad, it was just to learn, not everything that you learn should be projected into your adulthood. Nobody's perfect. So I just think, like, of course your relationship wasn't perfect. So I kind of just like I don't remember too much of how that relationship was because it was years ago. But
Sure.
I just know like how things left off definitely kind of like affected me and just like how things were handled between the both of you guys probably wasn't, the healthiest. And I
Right.
think that that's probably what affected what I took into adulthood and like what um, I thought was kind of normal and what I tolerated. So I think that's the biggest thing that affected me.
So like from a mother, so how do you feel like our relationship is? I know we're talking live together today, but how is our relationship and how has our relationship impacted how you handle relationships or friendships and different things like that?
Um, just seeing like I was saying, like it's all about loyalty to me. At the end of the day with friendships, relationships, or whatever, like if you have a real friend, you have to understand loyalty. Like my loyalty is 100% with my mother, like 10 toes down for my mom loyalty. So you just want to, I just took that into account. Like, when somebody shows you like they're not 10 toes down about you, you need to take that into account. Like they're not loyal. So don't really, tell all your secrets to that person or don't confide into that person because they might flip that on you or just a lot of things that I noticed that how healthy me and my mom or me and your relationship is and what I should take in account for like whatever friendships that I pursue moving forward. So I just know like loyalty is probably like the biggest thing in most relationships, in all relationships actually.
So how has, things like between me and you or what you've seen from me in the past, how has that impacted your relationship with young men?
Um I don't I think like I'm a little bit sassy because I am kind of sassy, but
Yes, okay.
because whatever, like whatever you want by the end of the day, you're going to get. But it's just you have certain expectations, and I think that I have certain expectations for myself first, my self respect, and I think that affected my relationships in a positive manner because I know what I accept as a person, like how to respect myself. But I definitely got my sassiness from you. I will say that.
You gotta blame it on the mama. So you gotta blame something on your mother. So Savannah said, "I love you, you guys. Thank you. We love you too, Savannah. Thank you for that. This is little Vivi. This is my other little daughter as well. She's like the CC and Vivi. Them
You know,
two.
I'm sassy, girl. I can't take the disrespect. Once you give a little bit of disrespect, it might come a little bit hard, but to be mature, you just have to walk away sometimes. I can get sassy. But
Yes, yes, yes. Mama, Bougie, Mama Joyce. Yes, like your mama. Yes, she's like me.
somebody cuts me a line, like get in your place, learn your position. Somebody it's too close to me. Like if you're more than 6 feet, like if you're behind me breathing your breath down my neck, move, please. Like sometimes you just gotta be a little bit sassy, because if you're on me, it's might be a little bit of a problem. Not anything physical, but
She gets attitude really fast because I remember growing up, we would be in the grocery store. Mom, why is he staring at me? Oh my goodness. I don't know. I mean, she would be in an uproar about me and looking at her. And I was like, Courtney, maybe they think you're beautiful. But he shouldn't be looking. And it would be every time we go out the house. So and I wanted her to understand, that she's beautiful. And yes, men are going to look at her. Yes, they shouldn't be gawking at her, of course. But
that's
I
what
had
I'm saying. They weren't just looking at me. They would be stop. Like, that's uncomfortable. Like, hello, how are you? Learn to speak. But I don't like when, if I'm being eyed down for a whole 10 minutes, who wouldn't? Come on, who
They
wouldn't
don't
be?
they never stared that long. They never stared no
Mom,
10 minutes. I would have said something. Come on. Like, really?
mom. If you make eye contact with somebody and then look away, you're not supposed to keep staring at me. Look away. Don't look at me, please.
Courtney, oh my gosh. Nikki was saying, I learned to expect the unexpected at all times and in every situation.
Mhm.
You just never know what you're going to run across. You never know. Hi, Melanie. Thank you so much for joining. You guys share this out. I'm with my daughter tonight with her story. She's sharing some of her experiences. But what I was asking you earlier about me and your relationship, did I ever express to you that was there any characteristics about me that were negative that impacted your relationship? I mean, Courtney, I know you don't want to talk about it, but
You're making
I mean,
me sweat.
huh?
Okay, you're making me sweat. Okay, so anything, mom, the negative was sassy. If anything, it's the
That's
sass.
not negative. What?
Okay,
Because
period.
I'm still,
Then it's not okay, period. So anything negative.
as far as like with dating relationships, did you see something in me like, wow, my mom was this type of way, so that impacted me in a negative way? I mean, I'm just asking because we want to be honest here because I know I wasn't a perfect mother. I tried my best to show you the of the best example that I could as a mother. But I
Yeah,
know during my time of when you were growing up as a preteen, I was going through my own storm,
yeah.
right? So I was going through my own heartache and pain, and just still trying to be raising you guys and making sure that you know, you were okay, right? And so, did any of that, how what I was going through, impact you in a negative way, and how you handle things later on?
None of that impacted me at all. Like when you're going through your own stuff, I just knew hey Quentin, let's be on our best behavior. We gotta be good. Let's not do too much. Let's not get on mom's nerves because look, we
She
can't
gonna go ham.
we can't be ignorant right now. But as far as things that I noticed about just when we're all in Nevada together, you get sassy with things being arranged in the house, and now I'm OCD.
What
And
is sassy? What do you mean by that? Like I would get sassy, like you mean I would go off, or I would just be
no, that go off like the boys would always do nasty stuff. For example, They would keep like sour cream in the sink or like just keep toothpaste just there. But then like I would just be like, the people who I have spend the night or like not people who spend the night because they're guests, but when I ended up living with roommates, they would do really nasty things. Like they were boys, so like don't roommate with boys. But they would do really just like gross things. Like they didn't live right. So like for
They were
example, they would
dirty, oh,
salmonella, like cross contamination and stuff like, and it would really trigger me. And I'd be like, you guys can't do that. Like, try to do it like this. And it just like, they didn't really care. And I just felt like I was momming them. And so I just felt like I kind of learned to kind of like mom of boys because I don't know. I just feel like I was in the position to like where I was rooming with really immature people. And
right,
and I kind of had to teach him, like, of course, like if you need to be taught, I'm gonna teach you in like a way that needs to be taught, but in a respectful manner. I'm gonna say,
right.
hey, instead of doing it like this, can you do it like this rather? Because that has germs. It's COVID season. I don't want to get sick. Please do not touch my doorknob or my room. Don't come in my room until you change your clothes. That type of thing. And then it just started to become like a nagging thing because they didn't really care. Like they're just like,
Right.
they're like, I don't care or like respect you enough to really care about that. And then it would become like a constant like advice, like it would get annoying. So like then I just felt like a mom. So I just like taking that mom thing over like
Okay, so
that from you.
about being tidy and cleaning up and
I'm
sour cream in the sink and stuff like that.
Savannah, I know you're listening to this because you're the same way as me. If we lived together, there wouldn't be any problem because we're both clean people and we both live the same. We're best of friends. So I know that you know how we live. We're not really dirty. So when people are dirty, it triggers us. So I just know like it's not anything out of the norm. Like clean up after yourself. I don't know. I can't say.
It's funny that you're like that because, oh my goodness, you guys, when Courtney was in high school, I would have to stay on her case about washing dishes. This girl would come in like like, again, the princess. She'd go and have her little peanut butter spoon and her little stuff, and she would not wash up her dishes. I'm like, really? Wow. And now
From a 5-hour day at school.
a 5 hour day at school?
Yes, I'm gonna get my peanut butter thing and I'm gonna wash it later. There would be one spoon in the sink and then you would trip on me.
No, I would not. Courtney would leave her cup. She would get her big old cup of orange juice. She would have her spoons. She had girl, I mean, even now, y'all, we get together for Thanksgiving. She go to her brother's house. She
Oh
have
my
all
god.
wow, like
No,
but I
false.
guess in your own space, you're very tidy and neat. And your house is clean.
No. In other people's houses, I'm very respectful. Let me just clear up that a little bit. Because when I'm in other people's place,
I
I'm
think you're comfortable. You're not nasty or anything. I think you're
but if
comfortable.
I have
So
yeah, if I have guests over, like the family come over and I'm hosting, I'll clean up after you. Like you're my guest. But if I'm living with you, you better figure it out because I'm not cleaning up after you. But if you're my guest, like I spilled some sauce, like, okay, I didn't see. Y'all better clean it up after me. Is that a double standard?
she still have her princess ways, you guys. And Latanya, I can't see her comments on here, but she said she had a full day work, Mom. You had a full day at school. She said a full 5 hours at school. Mom, I had a full, I mean, you had a full day. So you didn't want to clean up the peanut butter spoon. It's okay. I
Yes.
forgive you. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
I make the peanut butter and oranges and call it like a
It was more than that. It was more than that. You have your cheese hot pockets. I mean, we could go back and talk about all these things if you want to.
oh
We
my
and
god,
your ranch. So we don't have to talk about it now. But
lesson. I'm not gonna lie. The hot pocket, the extra cheese, the 5 cheese with the ranch.
it was the business, Courtney.
Yes.
So let's go on into talking about um what are the challenges that you all as Gen Z, your age group, what are some of the challenges? I think it's from those born from 1997 to like 2010 or whatever, what are some of the challenges that you guys encounter with dating and meeting people?
There's no morals anymore.
There's no morals.
There's no morals. Like a lot of, I think this may be where I live. So if anybody lives somewhere different, and it might be different for y'all, congratulations, because where I'm at, no. So I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a lot of people that I have met do not have morals or like have respect for themselves. And I think that's the biggest thing that I noticed about our generation is that there's very few people who really respect their lives. Um, I've noticed, and it might be because I'm in Vegas. It's a whole different place to be. But a lot of people don't have morals. People don't really take care of themselves. And I kind of like when you hang out, you are with who the people that you hang out with.
Right.
Um, it's just like a bird of a feather will always flock together. I've noticed. Um,
Right. The
started
level of respect. Right.
and I started to flock with, that same energy in those characters. And I started to lose myself again, just not really knowing or loving myself how I should be and not understanding those morals. A lot of people weren't raised with morals that I've noticed where I'm at. There's no respect. Like Savannah said, there's no level of respect. People are really heartless these days. And when I go into everything, like I'm an emotional person, I don't care, but I'm very intelligent as well. But
Yes,
I'm gonna
ma'am.
treat somebody right. If
Right.
I was taught to treat people with respect, I'm going to do that. If you
Right.
ask me, I might get a little bit sassy, but I was
Your
always
favorite word.
you use it first, so I'm gonna say it the whole time. But I was always treated or I was always raised to treat somebody how I wanted to be treated. So I always put, I'm like, I want to be loved like this. Let me love you how I want to be loved. Let me show you how to love me. And
Right.
so people were through that process really heartless and it just seems kind of evil. Um
Right.
yeah, and it's possible they weren't raised with love or like a different type of love, and you could see like family dynamic or like friendship dynamic of how they treat each other. Um,
Right.
and sometimes it can get covered up and just like, you know, shown a lot different, or that person can tell you, oh, it's this when it's completely different. Trust your gut, trust your first instinct, and I just unfortunately haven't came across the best people in my generation.
And that's so unfortunate that your generation, like you said, a lot of people are heartless. They don't have a level of respect. There's a lot of disrespect. There's a lot of, not caring about other people's feelings. It's just like they just do what they could do to people and
So
not care.
yeah, it's a lot of immaturity. Nobody really has respect. It's just like I wish people treated each other with a lot more love. Like,
Right.
if we go out, let's, if I have a group of friends, okay, let's go feed the homeless on Thanksgiving. Like, let's have a heart. Like, let's do things that show love and compassion for others instead of knocking each other down or just doing things that will tear other people apart. It just seems like more of a common thing these days, unfortunately.
Wow. And
But
Mel was saying this is your aunt. She's saying, sweetheart in spirit. You have a sweetheart in spirit. Yes, she does. My daughter is, growing up. I'm super proud of her. She's leveling up on her job, y'all. She getting her own apartment next week. Got her first car, bought her first car, a couple of weeks ago. Just super proud of you. And I want to tell you publicly, I love you and I'm super proud of you. You're just such an amazing young lady. And I know God has some amazing things in store for you, such an amazing woman of God. And I just always say that you're a prayer warrior because I have taught you all through the years how to pray. And I know you've prayed for me in the past. And it's such a blessing to see that in you all. So I love you very much.
I yeah.
So how do you handle loneliness? Like I know, a lot of times, like you said, you're getting ready to move by yourself. You've had sometimes people, like you said, treat you a certain way or walk away from you, walk out of your life. How do you handle loneliness?
At first, when people just, decide to walk out your life, probably for the better, by the way, when people decide to do that, it hurts
Right,
at first. And it kind of just feels like you just want to do things out of like, when you get lonely, you just want to do like these random things that you're probably not supposed to be doing to just like make sure you're not alone or just probably hang around people who aren't good for you. Um, so what kind of taught me like through the loneliness. Of course, you're gonna be hurt first, but of course,
Yeah.
like you're going to feel pain. Pain happens. It's life.
Part of life, right?
Just what I've learned is to have hobbies, um, Pilates, uh,
Yes.
working out really helped me, and just like getting back into my cooking, like learning what I like, just like getting into my arts and crafts, diving into some shows. But I just think like just staying active with my little Zerk Zerk. Um,
Hey, Xerxes. She has a dog, you guys,
he's
and
not.
she treats him like a baby.
I don't. Maybe a little, maybe a little. But I think that's pretty much it. Just learning like my hobbies and getting back into being active, like and
Right,
taking a different route from you know those specific people who decided to walk out of my life, or I decided to walk out of theirs. Uh,
right,
it's going to be a change of events, especially if you hang around them on a constant. Um,
right,
I love to have people by me. I like to have like, friends or just like people to continuously hang out with. That's why I like to date because I like to, have like a best friend by my side all the time that I can love.
right,
Um, but when you decide to take a different path, just need to
right,
understand yourself again and just get back into who you
right. So if you can talk just a little bit louder, because I can kind of barely hear you. I know you're trying to have that sexy talk, but try to talk a little bit louder.
are. Okay, I'll talk loud. I do not need sex.
Okay, so what does your self-care routine look like? I know you were talking about you like to go to Pilates and stuff like that. What are some other things, if you're not doing Pilates and you're like, look, I need to just wind down, I need to focus on me. What are some other things that you do that really help with your self-care routine, taking care of you?
So my hair is a really big part of my life. I'm a black girl, so
Your what?
my my hair
Your hair. Okay.
my hair is a really big part of my life, so I like to protect it. Um, a few years ago, I decided to do the big chop and cut all my hair off. So through
And you
then,
look super cute.
thank you. But I decided throughout that time to just like, take care of my hair again because before it was dead. So I just learned to kind of like help it grow and nourish, and it's really long now. And then I have a lot of skincare routines. I like to go over hair mask and just like sit in a bath, read a book, um, treat myself to some wine.
To some wine. Okay. Well, Joyce is asking, do you have close girlfriends that support you?
Mm, not really, like outside of my family, not really. Like I have people that I can trust. Um, Probably like one or two people, but preferably would keep my circle small. But I don't have that many close girlfriends like I thought I did before. And, of course, they showed their true colors or turned their back or did something grimy um,
Right.
that I had to take myself out of. So I thought I did before, but I apparently don't. So unfortunately, not at this time, but I'm not, upset about it. Um, Probably a lot of these things are happening in my life so that I can be blessed with a lot of different opportunities and friendships. Um, yeah.
So what does a healthy relationship look like to you? I know you've talked about some toxic relationships and things like that. So if you had a healthy relationship or if you're desiring a healthy relationship, what would that look like?
Um, Being wholehearted, being completely kind to one another, understanding. Of course, you're gonna have an up and down, but you just need to be understanding to like your partner, and be be 100% yourself, and just try to help them grow and just you know be there for them 100% because of course we all go through things. Life
Right.
happens, sometimes we can be really sad or whatever, and just you just have to show that person complete kindness and affection, and just have them understand like you have somebody who always has your back. And I just think that whoever rides with you, I'm gonna go again with the 10 toes down, but who's ever really loyal with you and just sticks there with you throughout it all, I think that That's my idealistic relationship.
Do you have any regrets?
I do have
I know
some.
you're I know you're young, but do you have any regrets as
uh,
of now?
Just reflecting off into the first question, just ignoring the red flags. That's my biggest regret, not understanding, you know, if I should act on those red flags and
Right,
I do the benefit of the doubt. It's like, oh yeah, well probably they showed me that, but that's not who they really are. Like, oh, I doubt it or
right.
whatever. That's my biggest regret, just um, ignoring all of those big things that I should have paid attention to. So never ignore red flags, ladies and gentlemen.
Never ignore red flags.
Take
So
advantage.
are you in a healthy relationship right now?
I'm, um, no, I'm not in a relationship. I'm
Not
not
right
in
now.
a relationship now.
Good.
Just because I'm focusing on myself, but stay tuned. You never know what might happen. No, just
So
kidding.
do you believe in love at first sight?
No,
No.
I that was fast. um,
I mean, if you don't, you don't. Like,
yeah, well, of course, like when you're young, like you'll be like, oh my gosh, like they're fine or like
do
whatever,
you
but
feel that's love or is that kind of more like a
still like that's not love, like that's lust. Like once you learn a person's mind and you guys are on the same wavelength and you guys have the same energy, you guys can be goofy around each other, that's love. Like that's like
you
I
can be yourself?
yeah, just like feeling like they're 100% family. Like that's love to me.
Mhm.
Love at first sight, no, that's I wish that was real because I tried to test out that theory a few times, it didn't work out.
She's like, I
So,
tried to test that theory. Oh no.
no, that theory didn't work out, so ladies, love at first yeah, I mean, of course, like, okay, so I think love at first sight could be real if, like, of course, you're gonna find an attraction towards that person. That's a great start. But if you guys start to become friends first and just like, hang out, just be cool, whatever, hang out, do what to do, then if you guys become a strong foundation first and just understanding, well, like we're really great together, like yeah, then that could be a love at first sight type thing. But it's not just like, oh, I know this person's right for me right when you see them. You don't know that
Right,
until you learn their mental first, their spirit, their mind, and everything.
right. So besides ignoring don't ignore the red flags. Besides that, is there any tips or last minute wisdom that you would like to leave for the mothers and daughters or the young ladies, Gen Zs that are watching tonight?
My advice is to be 100% you. Don't ever change yourself, especially if it's for the negative or just lower who you are to fit in with anybody. Just be 100% true to yourself in the
Mhm.
best way possible. Be the best version of you. Try to fix whatever you notice that, isn't, pursuing like a great person, of who you are. Of course, you're going to need to change some things for yourself to be a better person of you. But I always encourage whoever to be the best version of you that you could be. So
Do you believe in changing for somebody else? Like changing for the guy that you're with or changing for your friends?
yeah, if they notice like this is me. A lot of people get offended when this happens, and I've also tested this theory, but it also is a part of how you do come about it as well. So when you talk to somebody and you're just like, "Well, I noticed this about you," and I think that it's affecting people in the wrong way, or it doesn't look good on you. Probably you shouldn't do that. So, say for example, you know, you're just like a complete butt to somebody, and like that just becomes like a natural part of who you are, and you can tell somebody, "Hey, you know, you're not acting like the best version of yourself. Probably you should be a little bit kinder and nicer." A lot of people get offended to that. But I feel like if you're in a relationship, you should 100% be honest and just be like, hey, like you're not being the best version of you. Then yeah, that's the time where you need to change. As far as changing for someone, like, hey, like I think that you're too confident, or I think like
Or if they say, oh, you need to lose weight or you need
you
to
don't
cut your hair or.
I think like you should wear like less makeup, or like I think you should wear more makeup. Like, boy, I don't have to change for you. Like, I don't know what you thought this was, but I'm changing for you. Things like that.
Facts.
No, I'm not changing for
I'm not
anybody.
changing for you.
I love myself how I am. So if you don't let me how I am, bye. I'm not
Deuces,
gonna love you.
kick rocks.
But as far as like helping me become the better person of myself, let me know. But if it's
That's good.
anything that you don't like about me, then don't be with me.
I mean, that's so good, Courtney. If there's something that you need to change as far as like, hey, you're not being the best version of you, but if you're telling me I need to change my appearance for you, then no. So that's a good thing. There's a good change and a negative change. And Joyce is asking, do you participate in online dating? Since that's the kind of thing of your generation.
Um, I'm not gonna lie, I tried it before. Um,
What did you think about it?
it it's more for like
Like a booty call or like a one night stand or
seems like it's more for like ulterior motives because a lot of people go in there for good motives.
like
And
what ulterior motives like what?
a lot of people sexualize. So, for example, I would always get like DMs like just like sexualizing me, and it would just make me really uncomfortable to where I felt like I had to delete the account. There wasn't anybody genuine who would like really get to know me. And you could tell like how a person gets to know you to see what their true motive is. You can see like what they want to do. Do they want to take you out, or do they want to come over? Do they want to take you out or
Netflix and chill.
yeah, do they want to Netflix or chill, or do they want to go on a hike with you with their group of friends? Like, what do they want to do? And
Like, right.
unfortunately, um, didn't have the
That's
best.
unfortunate.
I don't do online dating now. That's kind of scary now, just because the world's changing really scarily, and I rather would not. I'd rather would meet somebody naturally, and if we meet, yeah,
Yeah,
or just kind of friends. Yeah.
right. So the last question I always like to ask, because you are my guest, even though you my baby, you my guest. This platform, Bougie Girl, right? This is a platform that is just kind of birthed out of a situation, out of my pain point, being called bougie in a negative, meaning in a demeaning way, like, oh, you think you're better than everybody else, or you think you uppity or whatever. And that was never my persona. I never thought I was better than anybody. We had material things, but I never thought I was better than anybody, but people always kind of looked at us in a certain way and called me certain things or whatever. And then your dad used to call me and you that, so, but anyway, Bougie says for bold, one of a kind, unbothered, God's girl, intentional and elegant. What makes you bougie on tonight?
I'm bougie because I'm
All of
myself.
that.
I'm bougie because, and by the way, people who call you bougie and who mean it negatively, they're jealous. Okay, they're like, oh, you think you're all that? No, like I know I'm all that. It takes
Oh,
self confidence to actually be yourself and
right.
not to. That's kind of what's going back into all these questions. Just be 100% yourself, and if you're not confident, people call me bougie. I'm like, period. You already know what's up. Like living the lifestyle of living how I
Yes.
myself. I'm gonna carry myself. If it's called bougie, then I'll be bougie. Period.
Period. She bougie, period. So what makes you bougie?
Being
Just
myself.
just being yourself.
Yes.
Being all of that. So which one of those letters would best describe you? The B.O. bold, one of a kind, unbothered, God's girl, intentional, elegant.
One of a kind. I don't think that there's anybody like me out there. I think everybody has their own personality. So like definitely got my sassiness going on here. Definitely just got my
One of
own
a kind.
personality going on here, and not changing for anybody. I'm one of a kind.
Well, I think you're one of a kind. You are amazing. You're a blessing to me. I love you to life, and I'm thankful for coming on the platform with me tonight. And if you all enjoyed this, you can sow a seed. You're always welcome to sow a seed. But I really appreciate all of those who joined on tonight to hear this honest and transparent conversation with my bougie girl, Cortnee Camille Chenault. She is growing up and doing her thing. She got her swag. She's sassy because she just sassy like her mama, I guess. We just got it like that. But thank you all so much for joining. Share this out. Share the replay. Watch this, and I will be back on Monday for Motivational Monday. I'm going to talk about love. That's not a topic that I always talk about, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit on Monday. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for just being a part of this conversation on tonight. Savannah, we love you.
Love
Love you
you.
to life. Hopefully, I'll be seeing you soon. I love you guys. Have a blessed night. You guys rest well, and Courtney, be safe out there on tonight. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. You guys have an amazing and blessed day. Also, purchase my book. My first book is coming out on March 1st, and I want you all to purchase the book. I hope that you um, find it a blessing to you. I hope you find it will be impactful. I have a copy of it right here. You know what I'm saying? We doing the final edits. You feel me? Super
Yeah.
excited. So all the information is in the description. So if you want to purchase the book, please do that. And just support the bougie movement, the bougie squad. If you're part of the bougie squad, hey, y'all, have a great night. Enjoy your weekend. And thank you all so much for listening to this amazing Her Story conversation with my daughter. Love you guys. Happy Valentine's Day. If you have a Valentine's, you have a boo. Happy Valentine's to everyone.
Oh, Valentine.
I don't have a Valentine's. I'm my own Valentine. Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna send y'all some treats. I remember. Okay, so let me tell this one quick story. When they when I was in the house, when we were all together, they were my Valentines. I would get them little bags and little
No,
stuffed animal. You remember that?
what happened to that? I remember you stopped it. I don't know. You're like, I'm not getting you guys nothing this year.
I mean, I stopped it because I don't live there. But if we were in the same area, I would hook y'all up. I would take them to Valentine's dinner. Y'all were my Valentines. So, my three kids, they're my Valentines. So I'm single, y'all. So I'm my own Valentine. I'm just gonna turn it up over here. It's about 10 degrees out here. I'm just gonna turn it up in the house, watch the movies.
Oh my gosh. Did you see that one? Yeah, you know what it is. For the
Yeah.
guy who's like, turn it up.
No,
No.
I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Sorry. But happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Get some rest. Be safe out there. It's still COVID out there, you guys. Social distance. Wear your mask. This is no joke. Protect yourselves out there. Love you guys. Have a blessed weekend. And thank you again for watching.